Time zero. Oh, live. Look at that.
There we go. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. I see if I can move Mike up here now. No, I can't. I'm trying to move people around. I hope everybody's all right. And obviously, there is a very big topic to talk about directly. But first of all, because staying up late, he's had his cocoa. He's stayed up to join us. It's Mike Morgan, who, if you remember a wee while ago, we were talking about Lakenheath.
And well, on though. What's going on there?
I don't know what's going on. It's all going horribly wrong.
I'm moving here. I don't know. Moving on the. Oh, you know, I'm something strange. Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Ian, do you want to lead us in with where Mike's at and what we're doing? Let's see if I can present.
Yeah. Actually, we had a follower who was saying he had to. He didn't want to be up too late, but I think he was winding me up. But so I said we'd chat about this topic first. But it's one we've talked about over a number of weeks, and the freedom of information that Mike's got has kind of affirmed that what we thought was the case in the first place is correct. That the most recent freedom of informations that were trying to throw us off course were incorrect, and yes, there's a significant amount of transparency and the potential that a claimed drone isn't a drone, and yet we have the temporary restricted airspaces that aren't that temporary as a result of all of this. So I will let Mike continue from here.
Am I able to show the letter, or is that?
No, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. It should do. Well, let's see. There we are. Take it away, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Hopefully, most people can see it there. Just to go back a little bit, as Ian's just said, for quite some time now, we've been chipping away at them bit by bit. Just to give you a sort of a nutshell thing, from my own perspective, I went to them early doors and said, you know, what's been going on here, etc. And they were using the word drone pretty much from day one. They told me that, you know, they'd been called by another police service. By that, I take it was Suffolk or Norfolk Police, to come to the airfield on the 22nd of November and to have a look for these drones, as they were calling them. And they were on task for about 20 minutes or so, and engaged with, again, what initially was being called as a drone, but in later FOIs was being called a drone-like aerial platform. So we started to get this shift in the language all the time. And then it just went on and on and on. And we asked, you know, for details on what the image was on their heli camera and things like that. And they told us they couldn't give us that for a variety of exemptions, from national security to law enforcement and all sorts of things. And then eventually, literally today, having asked...
1 second, Mike.
Yes,
I didn't even have the exemption and the kitchen sink.
Yeah. I mean, there's one, and I mean, I'm going off record here slightly because others I've got in with the MOD police and that. It's in my old job, if you're talking about financial investigations and money laundering, you call a thing called layering, where you basically put transactions on top of one another to hide things. And this reeks to me of layering in terms of exemptions. If it's not one, it's another, and they literally are piling the exemptions up to try and avoid disclosing things. That's what it seems to me. But anyway, I digress slightly. To return to what's happened today, as you can see here, I won't go through all the way through what I was asking them, but quite clearly there you can see the MPS crew were under the control of Lakenheath ATC, Air Traffic Control. Now, we haven't had that previously. That's the first time they've actually said, to my knowledge, that Lakenheath were under control. So I'll be following that one up as well. Then in the second bit, they've actually admitted now that the helicopter was searching and tracking for a reported drone activity, therefore had to maneuver in order to search and track and avoid moving objects as they were identified accordingly. And that ties in with the flight radar 24 historic data that we had on the app, which was showing all sorts of maneuvers up and down, backwards, sideways, you name it, fluctuations in speed. around Newmarket, which was quite concerning, to be quite honest, because it's obviously a built-up area. And then the third and final point, having mentioned about the aircraft basically being flown to its limitations, they've answered and said at one point in the task, the crew believed there was a credible potential that safe separation between the helicopter and the object, so it's no longer a drone, they're calling it an object now, being tracked, was compromised. Therefore, the helicopter left the area at speed to ensure safe separation was gained as quickly as possible within normal aircraft limitations. I'm going to put something in the mix here that I've never mentioned before. I have briefly mentioned it in the past, but I have been informed by somebody who remain nameless at this stage, who's very well connected, that this helicopter was following an object which did something, and they have told me what, but again, I apologize, I can't say because it'll basically flush out the source. But this object did something extremely strange, which certainly doesn't tie in with drones that we know. And as a result of that, the helicopter left the area.
What to say? We've got to see the video. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
If they really have it, do they really have it though? I
don't think there'd be a blag on the video, but the fact that it's gone from drone to drone platform or whatever else, and now it is object, suggests that actually they're thinking, well, maybe we didn't get a drone, which means, I believe in most likelihood that this is a mistake. And from the outset, I mean, we know from people that are experts in the airprocs, they were saying straight away, if it's south of the base, it's almost certainly a mistake. There was lots of air traffic, airliners, other GA and GA traffic as well, up above the helicopter. And you may well, yes. So there was always a potential for them to believe there was a drone south of them and it not to be a drone. And we know from the questioning on freedom of information that they confirmed that initially they hadn't done any validation themselves on what else was in the airspace to see if there could have been a false positive. They assumed the Airprocs board would do that, and we know very well they don't. So it could be they've done some investigation since and thought, oh, blimey, there was this thing there, and that might just line up. Alternatively, which is the thing I'd be more skeptical of, but obviously you can't rule it out because we haven't seen the video, is there could have been something other than a drone that they were chasing that is legitimately something odd. But we won't know until that comes to light. But it's definitely a change in the language, but which then begs the question, why have we got all these restrictions on drones that have been put there because someone said there was an incident with the drone and it turns out it might not be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you had to make the whole UK UFO no go zone, wouldn't you? Because I mean they'd be able to go everywhere. I sound super skeptical. I don't disbelieve in UAPs. I think I'm supposed to call them now, aren't I? I'm not. Pensioners. Old age OAPs, yeah. OAPs flying over Newmarket. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I think we're pretty arrogant to think we're the only things around. So it's very interesting. The change in language is very interesting, and I wonder if that also might be a liability thing, because they don't want to be liable for all those zones that they've created and stuff like that. I don't know.
Can I just mention, Gary? There's a couple of things. I think we may have mentioned them before in the past, but one of them is the Air Proximity website. As I'm sure many of you have already been on there in the past. Up until about October, November time last year, always up to date. No, the reports would go on there pretty much month on month, no problems whatsoever. There seems to be a problem with it at the moment. I cannot find, well, there's one or two reports, let's say, from November and December, and I think there's about 7 or 8, if my memory serves me correctly, so far for 2025 on their public-facing website. I mean, I've never, in all the years that I've kept tabs on that, ever come across with such a slow progress of putting them on the public-facing website. And I've asked them twice about this, needless to say, because of what's happened around Lakenheath. And all I get is, well, it's work in progress. We're a little bit behind. We'll get up to date with it. And you start to wonder what is going on here. It doesn't quite stack up. And as I mentioned previously as well, all these restrictions were put on US Air Force bases, either the
only theirs
or radar type places and things like that. Nothing on British bases. And it was very, very strange.
That's because the British bases have counter-drone systems that work, which is, I think, basically. But it is. I'm absolutely certain that the AirProx has been delayed and put back, and it's a deliberate thing to keep it out of the public domain for as long as they could. And obviously, we tried to freedom of information there, and that was blocked. Now, that there's enough public interest that could be undone. So if for some mysterious reason it doesn't turn up as it was originally due to, which I think is later this month, then it will have to progress through Information Commission to say, this is getting ludicrous now. This needs releasing.
Well, you can tinfoil hat it as well and say both in America and the UK, but weirdly not in Europe. US interests wanted zones around certain sorts of infrastructure for whatever reason, and they got it. That's the net result. In the UK and America, they zoned up loads of places. So you could tinfoil hat it a little bit in that way as well.
There is something that is, well, I think there's two things to cover here. I hope Mike won't mention it, but I think Mike's missed one little twist in this story. Didn't the National Police Air Service try to bat you off as being vexatious originally, and then you two actually say, well, excuse me?
Yeah. They basically didn't like the number of questions I was asking, and they said this is becoming too repetitive and bordering on vexatious. So I sort of put my old hat on and said, "Excuse me, this is not vexatious, and believe me, I used to work in a department like yours, and I know what I'm talking about." So they backed off, and to be fair to them, they've been very helpful ever since. But there's other things as well. I mean, the Ministry of Defence Police do have the primacy now for this investigation, but getting information out of them is like getting blood out of a stone. I mean, I have asked them some of the most mundane questions you can imagine, like who is the senior investigating officer? How many officers have you got involved in this? Have you got any suspects? How many witnesses have you traced? What are you actually investigating as per offences or possible offences? And we keep getting all these exemptions thrown back at us. It's just ridiculous. They are very, very simple, mundane questions that any police inquiry would normally be happy to answer.
Yeah. Would Mod Pods actually have the skill and experience to know how to do that? Because I doubt very much if it's part of their life, really. Well,
I mean, I've spoken to some actual witnesses to the drone stroke lights objects, whatever you want to call them, around Lakenheath and Milden Hall. And they have had contact with the Ministry of Defence Police. But they've been pretty much, I think the best way of putting it is low-level officers. You're only talking PCs and DCs, with all due respect to them. You're not talking about, top-flying detectives or, people from the ministry coming down, should we say. It just seems to be a very run-of-the-mill inquiry. It's very odd, and yet, as I say, you keep getting knocked back.
To jump in at one point here, just to underline in the response that you said, it is good to see, at least after you had that initial, we're going to pull the vexatious card, that they rolled that back quickly, because when I've experienced it, it's always then, and we will dig down. They dig the heels in, and then it becomes more of a drawn out process. The DFT are doing that at the moment. It's after already 20 days, pushing out to 40 in a case where there's nothing vexatious at all about it. It's just being used as a a way of hindering you. On the MOD, I would say if you have to go on further to the ICO or further, then have a look at the Gatwick stuff. And if not, I'll point you to it, because we can demonstrate absolutely beyond any doubt Section 77 concealment, in that I've asked questions and they've literally said we do not hold any paperwork on Gatwick. And then years afterwards, and someone else asked, it was like, oh, here you are. So they did have it at the start, and they were just actually, they were literally lying on freedom of information. And if you can show that, obviously you can say we're in a similar situation now at the start of it, and we can see this behaviour with the MOD before, and then if it goes on to tribunal, that that kind of pattern at least can be considered by the judge, and that would strengthen your case. But I think the case in this one would be particularly strong, given you, again, we're talking about a safety issue, which is now confirmed quite clearly above a residential area. That I think, for me, I'd just be absolutely flabbergasted if a tribunal judge, and to be honest, even if the ICO didn't say, wait a minute, this is silly, answers need to be provided. And I'm trying to think what else had come to mind, but yeah, probably best not say too much, other than we are kind of separately, we've got obviously our own freedom of information, and there's other little bits that are coming up about capability that, oh yeah, I'll mention one actually, because this isn't too controversial, but it's quite important. I was looking at the video. This is really bizarre, this, because obviously we were told back in November there was this drone going back, and there was, oh, panic, the base is being buzzed by these drones, which no one ever saw. But the interesting thing is, they didn't move anybody away. So you had the people that were going down there, because I went to the groups where the photographers are. So yeah, the photographers were still there snapping away. The videographers were still there doing this, recording all the stuff. So I've looked at all the stuff on these very days. And so the military aren't stopping them. They're not moving them further back. People there have got zoom lenses in, that they can see the pilot's face, you can read all the, the smaller fonts on all the canopies on the aircraft and stuff. So the detail's amazing. And so I'm having a look at all of this and panning around, and there's no counter-drone equipment set up that we all know, because we all know what the AUKUS stuff looks like. Can't see any of that. Can't see any members of the RAF and stuff. And it's like, this is very, very, very bizarre, because we were told that, oh, that's all being put out there. So it'd be quite interesting to know where they actually, if they did actually turn up. Has that all been a blag? We don't know. But if they did turn up, it'd be interesting to know where they deployed, because it wasn't sat round, round the airfield or up high on the control tower where the other counter drone stuff is. So you think, well, you plonk it in there. So yeah, very, very, very curious.
So some of the NOTAMs for the Herta transmissions around sort of November, December into January were around the district of Breckland near Durham. There was one at RAF Marham, one at a farm near Feltwell, RAF Honington, which is an RAF regiment.
That's just over here, isn't it? Yeah, that's over there.
And also Lakenheath itself. And I was told by one witness that the Lakenheath one was in a field at either end of the runway. Whether that's correct or not, I don't know, but I have to take their word for it.
Oh, you think they deployed gear either end of the runway, somewhere and somewhere, like
said, yeah.
Here and here,
said, possibly. Yeah.
Okay, somewhere near the pigs here, or the I don't know what that is. That's silo-esque, isn't it?
Ammunition dumps. Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of the early reports. I don't know whether you can see the viewing area on there. It's up the top end of the runway there.
Up in the north there somewhere.
Yeah, just to the right of it. If you go to the right, bit further. Somewhere around there.
C-17.
Yeah, you've got a viewing area. Now these woods to the right here, to the right of the runway.
Yes.
and then a little bit further out of picture, you've got the Centre Parks estate. Now there was an
I noticed that earlier. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's it there, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there was an awful lot of reports on the police logs in those areas.
Yeah, yeah, but come on, Centre Parks of an evening. Surely there's going to be a little bit of that going on. I mean, can you? But what I thought, because in recent, because people are beginning to say, "Oh, the," and I'm going to sort of gently lead into this as well, but the swarms in Ukraine, people are saying, "Oh, I wonder if that's what all this Lakenheath and North America stuff was linked to. I wonder if it's all linked. I wonder if it's all connected. They must have been testing it all." And that led to me to look at this place in a similar context. And, well, you know, I don't think I've actually been here down this road, but I mean, you could, look, you could do something from the end of the runway. I mean, one shouldn't speak too much of stuff, and you say there's a view. Oh, that must be the viewing area there.
That's the viewing area just there, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's and it was.
If stuff was plonked at the end of the runway, that viewing area would have seen it clearly. So
yeah,
it is a bit bizarre that no one seems to have snapped anything, given the people with the telephoto stuff. You know, they don't just photograph the aircraft. If they see
they would have been there, wouldn't they?
It looks a bit odd. They tend to take a snap of it.
It's interesting.
See that
some of the people I'm talking to in the area of the two bases there are saying that even recently, you know, they chit chat with the American personnel when they're walking around the perimeter and that. You know, you engage them in the conversation and say, "Oh, what about November?" They say, oh, "Gee, we ain't got a clue what that was." And the view is that they genuinely mean that. They're not just trying to sort of brush you off. They really do not know what it was.
Well, that you know, that would be a much, well, I suppose it would kick off all sorts of things, wouldn't it? But that's the sort of thing you want to hear, isn't it? We don't know. Well, then you're going to say, well, fair enough. I mean, it's an honest answer. Well, that's good. But yeah, it certainly didn't warrant the prohibited airspace that's gone out. Is that still in force, Ian? I can't remember.
It's in force to the 10th of this month.
Was it?
So the question will be, well, the funny thing is, these are things that are supposed to be temporary. So if you've got it on for such a long time, it isn't really temporary. So the question is, will they renew it? You know, will it just become a rolling thing? We'll find out, won't we, in time?
We will find out. We will find out.
One other thing that might give you a little chuckle. I've managed to find online one of the local parish councils around Lakenheath and Feltwell. They had a visit from the base liaison officer shortly afterwards, and they handed out leaflets basically saying, if you see anything suspicious in terms of drones or anything, dial 101. So that it wasn't even urgent enough to dial 39s. It was a non-emergency thing.
The funny thing with that was, from our viewpoint, we were laughing about that at the time because they put it on Facebook. They might have even tweeted it out, and it's like, that is the last thing you do, because you don't get reports of anything genuine. You just get every single NIMBY. So every time the National Police Air Service helicopter's going across, that's getting reported. You know, every single light in the sky. So all you get is a lot of noise and a lot of someone's time being wasted chasing all that. Because that's where Gatwick went so wrong. It was, you know, everyone was calling in everything they were seeing, and suddenly you were like, well, you don't have a clue what's going on anymore, because suddenly the entire sky is being reported.
Let's quickly look at this before going to the topic, which I'm sure will go on for a while. Tomorrow might be, oh, that's it, finally. Tomorrow might be the end of DJI in America and Autel. We shall see. I don't think it will. But my word, DJI have come out punching today saying it's not fair. It's not fair. Nobody's had time to do it. It's an absolutely ludicrous idea that that America would be being unfair on on DJI because nobody had the time to do the studies. We know the studies have been done. We know the people have been spoken to.
It's the robot vacuum cleaners I worry about.
Absolutely, it's very granular data, isn't it? So yeah, it could be tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe not. Other things are happening in the world, aren't they? But I thought I'd better get that in there today. And then I opened the can of worms that is Slava Ukraini. What a thing! What a thing!
It was just a BMFA meeting, wasn't it?
A BMFA meeting. Well, I think personally, me, myself, and I think that the flying part of it was relatively easy. The keeping something alive, the drones alive in a truck, and having the whole system. Only one of the units failed. Launched a couple, and then a couple blew up within the unit. But that was the one that had gone the furthest distance. And the operational security of the keeping stum of it is absolutely legendary. If they really have been planning that for 18 months, that's just fantastic.
I love low-tech solutions to high-tech problems.
The thing about this, it kind of struck me as of like some of the World War II operations. It makes you wonder if they kind of been inspired by that, because there were lots of like quirky little missions that went on. They were kept completely secret to just within a tiny team, because you had to, because it would leak out, and it's effectively what they've done here and done it so well. That said, I do think if they do it in future, they definitely need some drones with speakers on to play Ride of the Valkyries as they go in, and just
they'd get a copyright strike.
Definitely milk it.
That's right. All the YouTube videos would have to be pulled down. That's right. Yeah.
But the really interesting thing is, was it AI? A lot of people, including someone, was claiming, I don't think it's AI. It just looks like a C2 link with a medium amount of latency to me.
Anyway, Bruce, you're normally the pedant on this, so I'm gonna pedant you now. Ride of the Valkyries is past copyright age.
No, but the performance would be copyright.
Well, yeah, potentially, not always, but yes.
And Dan's got it in the comments there. I'm really surprised. No, this was inevitable. It was only a matter of time. But I still stand by. So no, they weren't pre-programmed. It was 4G.
To just put the AI thing to bed, there was an ArduPilot developer that was on Twitter that was going telling all these people that were spinning the AI thing. They were talking nonsense. The mode it's in isn't the mode you would do if you were doing that. It's got a mode called guided. I know that was what they used on the Solo as well. That's where if you are controlling it with another computer, a companion computer, you put it in that mode. You don't put it in a position hold or something and then hack it to put something on. ArduPilot already has the mode to do that, and it wasn't in that mode. So
why did it have failsafe across the screen?
Because the batteries were half in it.
Oh.
That's all it was. It was just one of them. There's several. I've seen a lot of people. Well, yeah, there's lots of instant.
Is he gone, or is it me?
Oh, that's what you mentioned.
Back.
AI. That's what happens.
Yeah. I like the bit where it said the home point has been bombed.
Well, if you look very closely, you see the dates are wrong on all the screens as well. There's several things were changed, but it's, as I say, for me, the flying part, that was, as Bruce said, it's simple. It was basic, simple. It was over 4G, simples. But imagine, just getting the truck part of it all sorted. That was very very clever.
That Canal 13 channel that has a lot of that stuff from Ukraine, they said AI. I wonder if the Ukrainians are trying to make people think it's AI, so it's possibly giving them, making the Russians a bit worried. Oh, they've got AI. Our ECM won't work anymore. I suspect it's a little bit of disinformation they're putting out.
Yes, could be very right.
I'd be worried, to be honest, I'd be a bit worried if you were doing AI and you got a bomb on something, because that one of them would be going wrong, and then you'd be blowing something that we didn't mean to.
Oh no, it would never happen.
And the planning of working out, okay, so just take a bit of homework, but exactly where to hit each aircraft to do the maximum amount of damage. I mean, it was very, very well done, and hopefully it sent the message that was needed. I thought
there's an upside down. I'm looking forward to the Hollywood movie, but the only problem is they will change all the characters to be Americans, and that they'd actually done the entire mission.
I'm waiting for the Commando comic to come out. Gotten the Himmel, das Englische Dog. Take that, die, Jimmy.
I wish my brother's just been over, and he bought the boys a great big bumper Commando thing.
I've got the thick,
big
thick ones. Yeah, the big bound. Yeah, I've got all those. They're great.
But it is when you look at it now, you think, oh my life. And that's how we grew up in the 70s, wasn't it? It was you went down to the newsagents, and that was fact. It was a documentary. That was all that stuff.
For your Commando comic. Those are the days.
It's dreadful. It's dreadful. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jerry. It's dreadful. But there we are. So yes. Oh yes, it's funny. I should have brought that down there. But it's I wonder what's next. They've hit the bridge today, haven't they? I wonder what's on the menu for tomorrow. It seems like they're going to have a. He said they've come to get him. They've come to get him. Now we can see what that aircraft is in the background. I thought we'd talk for that. And Nord, it was 4G. No, it was 4G straight into there. It was just 4G using the Russian, from my understanding. And my other understanding was all the hardware was made in Ukraine hardware, which is impressive in itself. Because they're making the motors, they're making the controllers, they're making the FPV element. So yeah, it's and I think a lot of the things that we're seeing flying along were there again as part of the propaganda effort. Were there to film, to make sure they recorded it and have stuff to put out there. So very, 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 very well organized.
There was an interesting thing on X as well for the drone community. Chris Anderson was trying to take credit for the entire existence of ArduPilot, and that this had taken place. And Philip Rouse had jumped in and said, "Wait a minute, you tried to destroy ArduPilot about 9 years ago." So there was a little bit of a spat there that was kind of interesting.
I didn't follow that much long. Was there a bit of a heated exchange? I saw the Philip's reply, but
I think it was left with Philip's reply, but a few people jumped in there, and someone had actually said, and it works quite well, and say, fair play to Elon and X for this. But if there's a post going down, you don't understand it. You can say, Grok, could you tell me about this? And it did that, and it gave the history, and it mentioned about the division as ArduPilot was kicked out of drone code and that. So it actually knew about that and put context to it, which I thought was quite clever, because I'd heard about things at the time, but I didn't quite get the ins and outs of it. So even I read that, I thought, oh yes, that was how it was. So yeah, quite cool.
Well, what happened was, as Jethro would say, the ArduPilot guys invited Drone Code to join, and then Drone Code rose up and booted out ArduPilot. But anyway, the rest is history, as they say. Great advert for ArduPilot, I suppose. If you want to get the job done, then that is the flight stack of choice now. But of course, never the intention, and completely against the terms of the expected terms of service for ArduPilot. Shouldn't be weaponized, and it shouldn't be crude. Should not happen.
I did actually send a message to Philip Rouse and said, "Are you going to have to up Michael's salary now, because all the military are trying to head on him?"
Yeah. Simple systems, as Bruce said earlier. There's been a little bit of news in the flying car world, hasn't there? Jobby and Co have flown some. Any more on the spat with Nordic? Yeah, Nordic's not coming to play, and Philip is ready. I know, to jump if Nordic tries to go after anyone. So status quo, I suppose, is where it's at. He'd still like to buy that patent and then release it into the wild. But I think it's only got a couple of years to run, hasn't it? Isn't it 7 years for a patent? I can't remember how long it is they
17,
run
isn't
for.
it?
17, is it? Okay.
I think so.
Well, we might even be getting at that because it's originally a patent that the German company had. So yeah, it'd be quite an old one. In fact, should we look up for it? No, we're not running very quickly here. So what other stories have we seen this week?
Solar storm.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Lots of
Yes.
auroras. And when I went to fly the little Neo the other day, it wouldn't get me enough satellites. So I had to fly the FPV drone instead.
Yeah, I had a little experience with it as well this week also, and it took me a long time to remember what was going on. Why is this so rubbish? And then I remembered. Horizon Cavorite X7 is looking sharp. Well, is it looking sharp, Dan, or is it just looking like a close formation of parts loosely flying? Let's get that up on the screen. It's a funny looking thing, which I suppose is no. I mean, that's not. I'm a funny looking thing. So just because it's a funny looking thing is it's no big diss. Let's get that up. Let's get that up. I must admit, I didn't think it was going to fly. Jesper, keep an eye on Griff in the future. Keep an eye on Griff. What do you mean by Griff? I'm not quite with you. Here we are, this thing. And
Horizon Aircraft just made aviation history, becoming the first eVTOL to achieve a stable wingborne flight transition using a fan-and-wing design with its large-scale Cavorite X7 demonstrator. The best part is that this particular aircraft is meant to be just that, a conventional aircraft that just happens to be able to take off and land vertically like a helicopter. It works by having 14 fans embedded within the wings, 5 per
Count
main
them,
wing with a pair
14.
in each forward canard. Horizon
Count
designed
the
a
efficiency.
mechanism that allows the wing surfaces to slide open for vertical lift from the battery-powered fans, and slide closed as the X7 transitions to forward winged flight, like a normal plane, with a gas-powered turbine engine powering the rear push prop. Using this system, the turbine
Is
would
that
also
here GPS on top?
and system mid-flight, giving you a full battery when you arrive at your destination.
Yeah,
Forward
just
wing
come on.
flight can turn the battery-powered fans
suspicious,
and
like
slide
it is,
closed
yeah.
as the X7 transitions
On the
to
top of
forward
it.
winged flight, like
So
a
it's a
normal
turbine
plane
electric.
with a gas-powered
There, stop. There, above. Where the
yeah,
yellow is.
I see it. I
What
don't
sort of zip
know.
ties are they using?
That does
Yeah.
look very like, doesn't
This is
it?
it's a bloody here GPS, isn't it? You're absolutely right.
turbine engine
I
So
wonder
that
if we
engine
means it might be
Bring the
running
rear-
autopilot.
push prop.
can.
Using
I'm looking. I'm
This
sort of
system.
staring into my screen here.
the turbine would
For people
Does
wondering,
look like-
charge the
the
power
round
hungry
disc
fan system
you're seeing
mid-flight,
there,
giving you
with like
full
a-
battery when you arrive at your
look like
destination.
a white
The
rectangle.
turbine would also
LEDs.
I'll take you
Like
back.
exactly like here GPS.
A normal plane with a gas-powered
This
Yeah.
here, with the 2 LEDs on the side for it to flash and go, and that looks like about a 900 megs whip or something like that. It's probably open LRS and
powered turbine engine powering the rear push prop. Using this system, the turbine would also charge the power-hungry fan system mid-flight, giving you a full battery when you arrive at your destination. And this is one of the important bits. Being able to charge while in flight means quick turnarounds, be it rescue missions or ferrying people across town and back. Topped-up batteries at your destination
What
will
I
give you
will
the choice
say
to land conventionally or
is
simply
that,
toss the X7 into hover mode
those
and land
tufts
anywhere
look
you
a
can fit a
lot
50-feet wingspan
better
and 38-foot
than,
fuselage.
what was that other thing that
That
failed? The
means
Lilium.
almost any H1 to
A lot
H3 rated
better.
helipad, aircraft carrier, hospital roof, ski resort, you name it, as long as the final approach and takeoff area is 1.5 times the overall length of the X7, and the touchdown and liftoff area weight isn't exceeded. The Cavorite, named
So there we go.
Imagine you
But-
could almost use a helicopter for that sort of thing.
So which country's the developer of this then?
I can't
Right.
remember. I'll have to look. Maybe someone in the comments will remind me. Yeah, I can't remember. I didn't think it would ever go.
I'm just curious because I'm thinking, won't it be another? And we go, oh, this time it's not China doing it.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not Chinese. I don't think it's Canadian. I think it's American, but maybe Dan will put me straight. I like this one better than the old ones. Yeah, it's been around. I guess I never thought it would fly. So that's me proof.
What are the benefits proposed for it?
It's very, very noisy. I don't know.
It's
I don't
basically,
know.
Bruce, it's basically not a helicopter, so it's got to be awesome.
Oh yeah, it's got to be better than a helicopter.
No,
isn't
but
it?
helicopters are awesome. No, helicopters are the best.
Yep. Gas turbine too. Woo.
Clarkson commented on drone flying over Discord. Flyover showed a Tesla parked up in Clarkson space, drawing speculation and using one to commute. Okay, all right. Yes, I've not really watched that news series. So CF, oh, it must be Canada then. Yeah, Canadian sister. Oh, it's got to be great then, Dan.
Oh, it's Canada, eh?
Yeah, Canadian. No, it's,
Well, at least we know someone that can sell them a parachute.
Yeah.
well, absolutely, yes. He's at the thing, isn't he? Right now, he's at the thing. So anyway, any more? We've seen anything else?
Grey Arrows
Oh.
is now saying, has he missed anything? Yes, you have. You've missed the whole Lake of England. That was really good.
You missed the scantily clad women.
Really? Yeah. I thought we'd talk longer about the Ukrainian thing, but then I suppose from the industry point of view, as I think Dan or someone else said in the comments earlier, it was only a matter of time. People have been discussing it for years, and it's going to be the first of many things.
Well,
We
it's
had a
interesting
Once
with that,
remote
though.
ID comes in, there won't be possible to carry that sort of operation in countries with remote ID. That's what it's all
John
about.
Pye,
Remote ID.
crashing land on the roof of a house last year, safe and effective. Oh, hello from Norway. Hello, Jesper. I bet you've got a lovely summer there now. Oh, something happened in Norway, didn't it, this week? I can't remember what it is.
One thing that got me was
Someone drove an electric vehicle.
Go on, Ian. Go on.
with the Ukrainian thing. Everyone, as soon as it happened, was trying to say. Everyone goes. They were trying to say how did this idea come up? So people going, oh, Call of Duty or some video game. And go, no, they clearly watched. Which one is it? It's the Fallen series with Gerard Butler in it. His latest one. They had the president was what's his face? Morgan
This
Freeman.
analogy is going well. Yeah.
So they have a van. The doors open. The drones come out in a swarm, and it takes out his security, which has the president. They definitely sat down, watched that, and thought, you know what? That is a brilliant plan.
But didn't the IRA do something similar with mortars back in the day?
They did, yes. They did out of the back of vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
And it's
Yes,
interesting. It
it is.
proves that drone delivery model. It's the last mile, isn't it? That's where the drone comes in. Everything's use ordinary vehicles, and then the last mile delivery is your. And as I mentioned on tweet, there's new mil-spec lipos now, and they're not 120C or 150C. They're just C4.
Yeah, I
That's what
know.
you need.
It's
One-time use.
an amazing operation. Well done to them.
actually-
And let's hope. Go on.
That raises an important thing. All these governments around the world are going to be gearing up, buying FPV drones and stocking up on FPV drones because they're a fifth the price of an artillery shell and all that sort of stuff. The trouble with that is that the munitions often sit for decades in a warehouse waiting to be used. If it's an artillery shell, it doesn't matter. It just sits there. They don't go off. They don't go, nothing goes wrong with them. They just sit there. But what happens when you've got thousands upon thousands of FPV drones and lithium batteries? Lithium batteries have got a very limited shelf life. So when the war comes, all your batteries are puffed. What are you going to do? You get this useless carbon. You hit them on the head with the frame. That's about it. So I wonder if they're actually planning properly, or whether they've just hired some consultants to tell them what they want to hear. And we're going to have all this money wasted. And when it comes time to use it, if we ever need to, it's woefully outdated because ECM will completely obliterate them on the battlefield.
Something
And
that
the
concerns
batteries
me
will
more-
be all puffed, unable to use.
Something that concerns me more, Bruce, that you might have a view on. I wouldn't even be worried about the lifespan and all that. My worry before that would be, will this actually get some military firm to actually innovate and do some more batteries, because I'd be worried about the safety thing of that, because all it takes is one of those. If you put all those drones together, you've essentially got a big bomb on your. So, say for example, you have on a battleship, you're essentially carrying a big bomb that could go off at any point and sink you. So it's like, how would you stop one of those going on fire and taking up all the rest? Is what I would be.
Well, it's a bit like any arsenal, isn't it? You only need a trigger explosion, and there goes all the bombs and military artillery shells and things. So I guess you'd store them in a lipo-safe bag. That's what you do.
The big lipo-safe bag, an aircraft carrier. I can see it now. So the big meet for the Grey Drones Club. There it is. Brigstock near Corby and Northants, which is clever that they've been expel players reputable for their what 3 words. Very good. I will put the link now in here. For those of you in the UK, you might want to go along to that.
Seema says that they've got a 4S Turnigy battery still going strong from 9 years ago. I think what my Turnigy batteries are still as good as they were 9 years ago as well. They were crap then. Haven't got worse. But no, I tell you what, look.
The sticker number got bigger.
This is quite an old battery. They don't have a date on them, but this must be at least 5 years old, and it still works. And it's a Turnigy green, low C. What is it?
Low C, yes.
Low C. Doesn't even say the C is so small. 10C discharge.
There you go. It has been a slow old week in some ways, but a huge week in others. Is there any more for any more?
Do you think they'll ban drones now?
I think we're going to have an absolute tsunami of counter UAS bullshit that will be weapons grade counter US bullshit. It really will.
I only fear with this that there'll be somebody at the DFT that has already done an email this week promoting RID based on what went on in Ukraine. I'd almost be surprised if someone hasn't done that. I'm now that kind of cynical about the stuff that goes on behind closed doors.
In any opportunity.
Any opportunity. So on that note, dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, be safe out there. I hope you have a splendid week. Thanks very much for joining us, Mike, and filling in yet more of the story.
Stay away from unattended trucks near airfields.
Well, as I'm doing it, but what have we said in the past? But you don't want to talk tactics, really, do you? But we have spoken of doing, not quite to that extent, but similar ways of disrupting airfields. I mean, it's not rocket science.
And we are available on a consultation basis for a very reasonable fee, aren't we, Gary? If any major military powers are listening.
I'll
do the missiles.
We better go. Absolutely, we better go. Dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, look after yourselves. We'll see you again next week at 2100 Gin and Tonic. Be careful out there, people. Thanks very much.